This podcast is brought to you by Infinite Resources, a local staffing agency connecting diverse job candidates in central Iowa companies.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Minke, President of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. The Urbandale Chamber is excited to provide you with this opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the candidates running for Urbandale School Board and the City Council. Thank you so much for taking the time to educate yourself on each of the candidates that are running, and we encourage you to vote on November 7th. Hello, I'm Tiffany Minke. I'm President of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. And today our guest is CarissaWilliams. She is a candidate for Urbandale School Board. So Carissa, welcome. Today we really appreciate it. This is an opportunity for the community to get to know a little bit more about you and why you're interested in running for school board. Just a couple quick reminders. We'll have the first opening question. You'll have 2 minutes. And then after that, each question, you'll have about a minute to answer. But the first question's super easy. Why don't you just tell us a little bit more about you?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for having us. And thank you to the Chamber for providing this opportunity for us to get to put ourselves out to the community a little bit more. My name is CarissaWilliams. I'm a mom of 4 kids in the Urbandale School District. I'm the daughter of a public school teacher and the spouse of a public school teacher. So that's where a lot of my interest comes from in serving on the school board. I am an active volunteer in the community, have served in many different roles, both on the UCAN Board of Directors and really active in our elementary PTOs as well. I'm a collaborative leader, and I'm also looking forward to building some consensus on the board and moving actions forward for our families in the district.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. What is there a particular issue that motivated you to serve on the school board?
Yes, I would say there are 3 highlights that I have. The first and most important, I think, is that we have a tremendous staff in our district, and I really want to make sure we support them. We'll have upcoming, I think, concerns nationally and locally with staffing shortages in schools. We're already starting to see a little bit of that, and I want to make sure that the staff that we do have feels supported in their positions so we can retain them. In addition to that, our district has made a lot of progress on equity issues in our district, and I want to continue to build on those and look for continuing opportunities to grow there. And then, like everyone else, safety is, of course, top of mind. Wanting to make sure that our staff and students feel safe in our buildings. The schools are a reflection of the community as a whole, and I think we all want the best for our kids in terms of them feeling safe, welcome, and able to learn when they're at school.
Yeah, absolutely. So what experiences or skills what experiences or skills do you have that prepares you to be a school board member?
Sure. A highlight that I have is that I'm a driven volunteer. I'm always looking for opportunities to serve the community. I have served on PTOs at my kids' elementary schools the entire time we've lived in the district. The last 4 years, I've served as the president and co-president of our elementary PTO. I've spent hundreds or thousands of hours pouring into the schools and finding ways to connect families. I have offered opportunities for families. I've offered along with all of the whole PTO, of course, not just me, but work to build those connection points for families, support for our classrooms and for our teachers through fundraising and finding opportunities to provide additional things above and beyond in their classroom experiences as well. I've served in other executive positions on other nonprofit boards that I've served on as well. So I have a lot of board and service experience that I think will suit me well in this position.
Yeah, and that's really important. So let's shift gears just a little bit. And what do you see as the major issue or issues that are impacting the Urbandale School District today? And do you have any specific suggestions on how to improve upon those issues?
Sure. We talked a little bit about staffing already. I think that knowing that there are not enough adults to fill the positions we currently have with what we expect to continue down the road in staffing shortages is a major concern. Having those adults in those positions and ready to go to help our kids learn when they come to school is crucial. In addition to that, I think that it's important for board members to remember that every family's experience is different and people will have a wide variety of issues and concerns. In meeting with people, I've been hearing things about a multitude of issues. You can imagine different programs, curriculum concerns, grading concerns, all of those things, and they're all really important. So I think what's most important for the board to do is to find ways to bring everyone's voices to the table and look for ways that we can take a concern and make actionable change on it, instead of just talking about all of the issues, find those actions that we can take and move things forward.
Yeah, move that needle.
Yep.
So what do you believe is the most significant impediment to school learning today?
I think we have two things that come to my mind through the conversations that I've had. I'll hit on the staffing point again, and not having enough adults and in the right positions and building those relationships over time with students can be a concern. We're doing a good job covering how we can now, but I do expect that to continue to be a hard thing for our district to do, and all other districts too, is to continue to find people going into the field of education. I also think I hear from a lot of people that there are concerns about holding students to high expectations, whether that's academically, behaviorally, and people who maybe aren't in the schools every day have concerns about that just from what they hear and what they see from their kids, from their community. And so making sure that we make school a safe, comfortable place for kids to learn, making sure that when there are concerns that we address them so that the community knows, oh, this is how we can move forward and take steps to make things better.
Yeah. So we're going to shift just a little bit, and let's talk about the current budget for the school district. What are your thoughts on the current school budget?
Yeah, I would say that historically our district has done a really good job of being fiscally responsible and looking for ways to grow within our means. You know, we're not growing as rapidly as many of our neighboring districts are, and we won't just because of the borders of our district. And so I'm really proud of how we have managed to keep opportunities great and exceptional for our students with the constraints of not having a growing district. Tied to that would be our open enrollment and how we are able to utilize open enrollment to help bring in extra funds and provide extra opportunities for our students. I do think that it's important that we look for ways to continue to be competitive, both with our staffing, with our programming and things like that. So that way we have unique things about our district that make it a great place to be.
Yeah. So still kind of talking about the budget, kind of like even at our home, sometimes budget cuts are needed to balance things. If a budget cut is needed in the future, where would you look to make that budget cut? And are there certain areas that you absolutely would not support cutting?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question to answer. You know, education funding has changed so much over time. There are times where there is a one-year issue where we need to resolve something on a short term. There are bigger picture issues that we need to look forward and plan for. So I think it's impossible for anyone to say with any accuracy now, oh, I would absolutely cut this first, or we would look at that. It will depend on if it's short term or long term, who it's impacting. It depends on the priorities of the community at the time. So I think important for the board to keep a students first focus and make sure that we're putting what our kids' needs are at the forefront of our decision making. And then at that point, we would evaluate what the current environment is.
But is there an area you absolutely wouldn't cut?
Well, I think just anything that benefits students' learning is going to be first priority.
Perfect. What changes do you feel should be made on the state and local level regarding public education?
Yeah, I think that local control is essential to Iowa's history of excellent public schools. And I think that when legislation impacts the state as a whole, there's a good chance that it's not uniformly impacting districts. We have, really small districts, we have really large districts, we have rural, urban, suburban. And when you look at putting legislation in place, it impacts different communities differently. And so I think whenever possible, the state needs to let the school boards operate and control things the way that their districts and their voters elected them to do. You just can't imagine how one piece of legislation that seems generic could impact different communities and different situations.
Yeah. So, excuse me. We've got one more question, and I want to thank you again for your time and your thoughts. We really appreciate it because this is such an important opportunity for the community to get to know a little bit more about you. So the final question is, what do you feel differentiates you from the other candidates, and why should the community vote for you for school board?
Yeah, I think through the 10 years that I've lived in Urbandale, I've really poured myself into the community. And we talked a little bit about my volunteer work, but just the amount of time that I put into district volunteering, I've gotten to know a lot of people, both families, teachers, staff, And I've put a lot of time into making things better, and I want to continue to do that. And this is just another and different opportunity to do that. And so I think if you don't know me, you can probably find people who I've worked with throughout different district committees and see the kind of investment that I want to make into our kids and our schools. And I'd encourage people to reach out to me too if they have questions about that. And then ultimately, being a mom in the district, I'm invested in the decisions that the board makes, making sure that they're moving things forward, making things better for our kids. And so every decision that I make on the board will impact me as a parent as well. And lastly, I'm a consensus builder, and I am collaborative, and I think that there's a lot of common ground to be found. I think a lot of people see division and divisiveness in both school policies and politics and things like that, and I think there are a million things that we probably do agree on, and we need to look for those and start making positive change.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Carissa, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.